Okay, I think we are live. Yes. All right. Good morning, everybody. I hope everyone can see me. And thank you for being here today. As a topic that has the power to shape careers, accelerate growth, and bring real clarity to both our personal and professional journeys, which is mentorship. So as we get started, I just want to give it a moment for everyone to join. Give a thumbs up to our learner community that are joining today. If all is well, if you can hear me, just tell us where you are joining from. I know that we've got a community, quite a big community of learners joining from Africa as well as the Philippines. So drop your name and where you are joining us from, and just give it a few moments and we can get started. Yes, I see Martinez is joining from Soweto. Babongile, also from Soweto. Tato from Midrand. Lovely. Do we have any of our learners joining in East and West Africa? Nigel from South Africa. Oh, joining from Nigel, South Africa. From the Philippines, yay! I see. Is it Lore joining from the Philippines? Awesome. Paul from Kenya. Welcome, everyone. We're about to get started. And I see Rivo. She's so excited to be here. So lovely to have you, Rivo, as well. Okay, Kimberly. I see Tabang joining from Kimberly. Awesome. Ruel from Kenya. So yeah, we also have Rivo and Bongi, my colleague, joining. So Bongi will be taking care of the chat as you drop those questions, comments. Bongi will be just manning the chat so that we don't miss all of those awesome comments and questions that are coming. So without wasting any further time, I would like to open up this workshop discussion. We've got an amazing panel of our invited guests, both from SAP and Umuzi. We also have some of our year one learners that have graced us with their appearance today, just to have this discussion with us. We want to make it as interactive and live as possible. So feel free to raise your hand, give us those questions and comments, as I've said. So I think I'm going to hand over to our lovely guests just for a quick intro. We want to know who they are, what they do, and then we can just get started from there. I'll start with Shamila. Yes, Shamila, the floor is yours.
Hello.
Just a quick. Yes,
Hello,
thank you.
everyone, and it's great to be here. My name is Shamila Jasmith. I am part of SAP South Africa. I'm based in Johannesburg, South Africa. I've been part of the SAP ecosystem for over 25, 26 years, so giving my age away. Um, Yes, and I'm excited to be here. I've had a long career in SAP, basically from consultant to now in the partner ecosystem. Um, yeah, that's me. Great to be here and to share lots of experiences with you.
Awesomeness. Thank you, Shamila. We also have Ntate Shoni. Please go ahead, Ntate.
Hi, my name is Dr. Shani. I'm down in South Africa. I'm one of the team members at Umuzi, and I've been around for a few moons, and it's lovely just being on the call together to talk to you about mentorship. Thanks, Frida.
Thank you, Ntate Shoni. Over to you, Chifiwa.
Thanks, Frida, and good morning, everyone. Chief Iwa here, or Chief in short, part of the SAP team. I know that SAP is an IT organization, but my background is in HR. So I've worked in HR for about 10 years, and I've spent the last 23 years working directly for SAP, different roles within SAP, worked across multiple industries, multiple customers, and multiple countries. And I'm excited to be part of the conversation today.
Thank you very much, Chifiwa. Andiswa, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Andy Swabiela. I'm based in Johannesburg, and I am SAP Learner Cohort 1, and I'm very excited to share my mentorship program journey with you today. Thank you.
Thank you, Andisa. Last but not least, we have Ngedisi.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Umuzi.Org. I'm based in South Africa, Cape Town, and I was part of, just like Andy, so I was part of the year one or the first cohort of the Educate to Employ program. I did the developer route, and I'm happy to be here and share some of my experiences with the mentorship program. Thank you.
Thank you, Ngedisi. So I think we can get started. As I've said in the intro, we want to, get real clarity on this topic called mentorship. I know it's a topic that a term that we've all heard about, but what is it really? What is mentorship about? So whether you are starting out in your career or you're navigating what the next big step will be for you, I think having a mentor can make all the difference. Why am I saying this? Sometimes we can get all of the skills from training, from books, but the real world perspective that is mentorship or personal guidance can make a significant difference. So we all would at some point need someone to support us. It can be someone that we look up to or someone who's already walked the path that we are in. So in today's session, we want to understand the real value of mentorship, both in our personal and professional lives, and how that will help us grow faster or maybe even avoid those common pitfalls. I know sometimes we can't avoid them, but also most importantly, learn how to expand our personal and professional networks. So with that, I would like to start our discussion, firstly with Shamila. I want to understand, for those who don't know, Shamila is a mentor or was a mentor to our year one learners in the E2E program. So from that, I just want to understand, Shamila, on your side, what made you choose to be a mentor in the E2E program, and were you at any point in your personal and career life mentored, or are you still being mentored?
Great. Thanks, Frida, for those questions. I actually have a passion to see young people find their passion and also excel in what they're doing. So I have actually two teenagers. They're now at university, so I know what it's like to be, young and vulnerable and be looking out for a career. And from an SAP perspective, I've also been, in the position to to mentor some of the young graduates. In fact, I had 4 graduates that I was mentoring that work at SAP now. So when this opportunity came up, of course I would put my hand up. For me, sharing experiences and knowledge is very important. And one of my values is, how can I be of service to my society? Because that's for me a small contribution in terms of, the gratitude I have, because I've had a lot of people in my career, in my life, who were there to guide me and mentor me. So that's why, for me, it was a natural thing to put up my hand and take part in the program. So was I mentored in my career, and am I still being mentored? Of course. For me, mentorship is very important part of someone's career. I've had several different mentors uh, in my career, and it is, so you change mentors just depending on where you are in your career. So as you progress and grow in your career, you'll have different needs and different aspects that form a part of who you are or where you want to be. So each mentor served like a different purpose. Sometimes mentors are there to bounce ideas off. Sometimes they're actually there to help you develop like your leadership skills, or develop something like an expertise in some particular field. So you look for a mentor that's like specialized in that field. And then more recently, you just need like somebody that's completely neutral, where you can talk about maybe a challenge that you have from a work perspective. So for me, it's important to know that sometimes these mentorship relationships can, they work, and then if they really work and work well, you'd have them forever. So at some point, you can have even multiple mentors, because you have a different purpose with different mentors. And and then sometimes there were times where I had a mentorship for a specific purpose, and that was short, and it was, we reached our goal, and that's it. That relationship ended. So yes, it's important that as mentees out there, to know that you must be clear about what you want from a mentorship as well. And if something doesn't work for you, there's lots of mentors out there that will serve a different purpose for you at different stages in your life. So I hope that gave you some background of what I thought about these questions, Frida.
Certainly. Thank you for your views and your perspective, and for sharing that, Shamila. I think there's definitely something we can take from that, to say mentorship can be for different purposes in one's life. Chifiwa, share your thoughts on the importance of mentorship in one's personal and professional development. What do you think? Why do you think mentorship is important in that respect?
Yeah, no, thanks, Frida, and thanks, Shamila, for the reflections that you were sharing now. I actually had a conversation 2 days ago with a cohort of interns that we have taken at SAP. And one of the guys asked me, what are the things that he needs to consider in order to be successful in his career? And I said to him, you need to have 5 people that you can count on. Shamila spoke about different mentors, through different stages in your life or for different purposes. So I said to him, you need to have 5 people in your life that that you can lean on, people that understand your journey, people that understand your passions, people that understand what's driving you, so that you have got a diverse input as far as you wanting to achieve your own personal goals is concerned. So the reason I'm starting with this story is, when we look at people that are successful in life, or people that we deem successful in life, they will always talk about different stages in their lives where somebody was there, either to give guidance, to give correction, to give encouragement, or maybe to help them learn a new skill, or maybe to help them navigate a tricky situation. Maybe it's balancing between the work that you are doing together with family responsibilities. So the importance of mentoring at the end of the day is the ability for you to get very quickly to your desired outcome. If you want to try and do stuff on your own, it might take you unnecessarily longer than it could have taken. But if there's a mentor that you can lean on, you are able to bounce off ideas, you're able to get pushback on certain ideas, you're able to get challenged to think beyond maybe the perspectives that you had. So I would encourage everyone to get a mentor, so that you are able to use the time that you have and you are able to tap into the experiences that are available around you. The other thing that I like about mentoring is the ability to open doors for you. So maybe your mentor does not have the right knowledge that you are looking for, or does not have the right contact into an industry that you want to get into. But when they tap into their own network of 5 people, or tap into one of their mentors who's got their own network of 5 or 6 people, you find that things become a little bit easier. Not that as a mentee you take a backseat, right? But it's to know that you are able to get to your desired point as quickly as possible whilst learning in the process. Frida?
Thank you, Chifiwa. Thank you for that really eye-opening perspective. As you were talking, I could see that there are some questions that I also asked about mentorship, and you have touched on those points. So thank you for your input there. I'm going to move over to Ndisi and Andiswa. I really, Ndisi and Andiswa were our year 1 learners, and they've also been mentored by our amazing SAP mentors. So I want to know, Andiswa, first, you first, just give us your thoughts on the idea of mentorship and what it meant for you as you were mentored last year, reflecting on your time in the E2E program and what that meant for you personally and professionally.
All right. So the mentorship program was a very exciting program as someone who wants to start out in a new industry, in the tech industry. So it was very exciting. I was looking forward to, learning and experiencing and have that practical real-time experience, get to see someone who is already in the field. So the program for me was very insightful. I had an opportunity to actually speak or get advice from people, and basically people who are already in the field that I want to get into. So it brought a sense of confidence and relief, because starting with the program, the E2E program, I was a bit curious. SAP, I did know of SAP, but I didn't have in-depth knowledge of SAP software. So basically the mentorship program, it brought so much confidence to say that, no, this is actually what I want to do. This is what I'm interested in. It actually increased my interest as well. So definitely confidence and a lot of clarity was brought. And then in a professional manner, I was able to get to see what SAP professionals do on their day-to-day. So that was very exciting to see the impact that they have on their clients, how they interact with their clients, basically the things that SAP does, and the professional, the work professionals, the work that they actually do. It was very much exciting to see and very much motivating. I was looking forward to finishing the program and actually going forward with the career. Thank you.
Thank you, Andiswa. Yes, over to you, Mncedisi. Your take on the question when you reflect on your time in the E2E program and being mentored.
No, thank you very much, Frida. So, from my sort of experience with the E2E program by Umuzi and SAP was really, I came in wanting clarity sort of about my career prospects within the SAP ecosystem, but also just how to present myself professionally and sort of gain a sense of direction. And I must say, to this day, I gained more than what I bargained for. So I was mentored by Avina, who may have met throughout your program at this stage. At the time, she was the chief information officer at Engine, and she really went through various sort of themes throughout my 4 to 10 weeks with her. And I think I've noted a few here. If you don't mind me going through them, Frida. Can I go through? Okay. So I think one of the most impactful themes for me was really getting to know myself. I think before you present yourself to others, you need to start looking within. So I really thought I knew myself quite fairly well, but the process helped me go a bit deeper, beyond sort of like the service level strengths. It helped me identify sort of my blind spots that I wasn't aware of and things that were holding me back. So you get to ask yourself sort of different types of questions when you're exploring this. So what energizes you? What makes you shine? Where do you struggle? And all of this sort of helps you or makes you better, especially in showing up in professional spaces. It helped me develop a real great self of awareness, not just in theory, but in practice. You become more intentional about how you present yourself, how you speak, how you carry yourself, not only in interviews or sort of professional settings, but just in your personal life as well. I realized I had the habit of downplaying myself and my journey and shrinking in spaces where supposedly I should have actually filled up the room a bit more. And the program really helped me flip that around and tell my story in a more confident manner, in a more grounded and compelling manner. And I think another big takeaway would be networking with purpose. I'll be honest, I thought of networking as sort of asking for something from people, but I realized that networking is actually building real relationships. It's about approaching people with clarity. So through my mentor, I learned that introducing myself with intention and just by the mere fact that I'm connected with her on LinkedIn gave me exposure to her contacts or her connections, her professional world, her leadership journey, and sort of this visibility and how I see myself in the kinds of spaces that I kind of find myself into now. And I was also fortunate enough that I had in-person contact with her, having been invited to the Engine offices. I think on 1 or 2 occasions was quite an invaluable experience for me. Being in that environment, seeing what SAP consultants do on a day-to-day basis, how they communicate, how they collaborate, how they solve real-world life problems for their clients, just as Andisio has mentioned. You sort of don't get that insight from a YouTube video or a brochure. By physically being there, I was able to connect with people, ask better questions, and start picturing myself in those roles. So that's definitely something that stood out for me. And I think another theme would be building business acumen. and sort of having an entrepreneurial mindset. Basically, sort of leading from where you are. I learned how businesses create value, what makes them grow, how to contribute meaningfully. So I realized leadership isn't just a title; it's a mindset. So you from my personal perspective, I started taking initiative more in groups, thinking more clearly, critically, and asking questions. Um, how can I contribute to the solution, sort of thing? And I think maybe on the softer side or the soft skills types of skills that I gained would be managing myself, my time, um, my communication, my emotions. This is just not being. This isn't just about being efficient. It's about emotional intelligence. It's about knowing when to listen, when to speak, how to manage conflict, and how to be aware of your energy. So you become really better at setting boundaries and having honest conversations and and leading yourself first so that you can lead others. Um, and really, I think this might resonate with everyone as well, as especially the current cohort. So, I mean, it's quite a noisy world that we live in, and one of the themes that we explored was mindfulness and mental resistance. I think when you take care of your mental health, your spiritual health, everything else sort of tends to flow better. Your focus and your creativity and your resilience tends to flow a little bit better. It also helps build habits, good habits, by the way, that help you support through tough days, sort of your deadlines or maybe even personal losses. So mentorship isn't really, we're all human after all. It's not really about a professional relationship. It can also be personal as well. And yeah, I think just maybe touching on the last point, just mentorship itself. My mentor always tells me that it's a two-way street. So um, it's also lifelong. I mean, I'm still in contact with her. I just spoke to her yesterday. Um, it's just not about sitting back and receiving sort of wisdom from her. It's about showing up, asking questions, engaging with her, and sometimes even challenging your mentor's perspective. I don't know how many times I've argued with her, but you know, it's all part of it. So yeah, that would really be my highlights, Frida. Um, and maybe if I can close with the following, what it really meant is me gaining clarity about who I am, where I want to be. It meant building confidence in my story and how I portray my story to others so that I stand out. It meant creating meaningful connections that I still lean on today. And most importantly, it meant learning. I don't have to walk this journey alone. So to the upcoming cohort that you're about to start your journey now in your mentorship program, so I would advise is you to lean in, you ask questions, reflect often, and definitely show up fully. Um, I think isn't just really about professional development. It's becoming a better version of yourself that your future will be thankful for. Thank you, Frida.
Thank you so much, Mngedisi, for sharing. It was a mouthful. It was wholesome, and I saw Shamila smiling a bit there when you touched on mindfulness, because I know that she is in there. She is really passionate about mindfulness, and I am really glad that your mentor Avina also taught you some, mindfulness and just leaning into yourself and knowing, because oftentimes when you think mentorship, you think of a one-way street, like that kind of transaction where you go in hoping to launch yourself into the perfect career and it ends there. Once you feel like you're comfortable, then you don't really need the mentorship. But what I've learned from both yourself and Andiswa is that it's reciprocal. It's what you bring in, and taking, learning from all of that experience that your mentor had. And above all, it's a long-term commitment and relationship, because I also firmly believe that as much as I can get from being mentored, I think also my mentor also learns a bit from me, because we bounce off ideas, perspectives off of each other. So thank you so much for sharing that, and I can already feel that our learner community has taken those pearls of wisdom, and they already know how to approach this. And it's actually a perfect segue into the question I'm going to ask down the road. But before that, I'd love to hand over to Ntate Hloni. Ntate Hloni, from your side, what advice would you give to someone who's looking to find the right mentor, that kind of relationship, and what are some of the effective ways to maintain a strong mentor-mentee relationship?
Thanks, Rita. I love how Chifiwa touched on those 5 people, and he said, you need to have 5 people that would mentor you. At Umuzi, one of our co-founders, Andrew Levy, loves using the word social capital, and I think that's what having 5 other people buys you, because those 5 know 5 others that know 5 others, and compounds. Of course, we're not expecting networking through all the entire ecosystem, but if out of the 5, 1 or 2 recommend you to 1 or 2 others, already that opens up doors for you, that opens up views for you, that opens up your worldview. But I think one of the things that some people think is, if I'm a mentee, that things will come rolling my way. It's not like that. I think Ngatisi touched on it quite strongly. You have to work, and you have to sing for your supper, as a mentee, because the mentor will work with you and give you some advices. The mentor will work with you and give you some tips. But it's up to you, how much you want to take that on and utilize it. I mean, for me, is I've said you need to want to be mentored. So on the SAP program, the E2E program at Umuzi, and a lot of people will be assigned mentors, but do they want to be mentored? That's the one thing. Do you wanna show up and be mentored? Because you have to be willing to be mentored. You have to be like a sponge to receive the mentorship that you are getting. Sometimes the mentor will say things that you don't like, that are unpopular, and and that is not for them. They're not being difficult, but they are really looking and saying what is best for you where you are, because in most cases the mentors that you'll be working with have had 1 or 2 extra laps around this thing called life compared to you, and that might be professional laps, right? They might be the same age as you, sometimes they might be older than you, but from a career perspective, they might have seen things that you might not have seen. And that's why we do, match ourselves with mentors. And I think we really need to be willing to learn from what they are saying. And some of the things which are very tough for them, which they're saying to us, might not really sit quite nicely, but it's about saying, well, do I trust this person who's mentoring me? Are they really looking for what's good for me? I think people sometimes limit it, and I think sometimes we limit it as individuals to, I'm going to touch on it slightly a bit, where he spoke about the advantage of having had someone that they could talk to. So that's quite nice to have a mentor that you can speak to. But at times we have people that we look up to that we cannot gain real access to, who also mentor us, right? Because we look at their career, we look at the things they do, and then we try to, I think mimic is a wrong word, but we try to emulate what they are doing and see what they are doing. So, for example, I'm going to be unpopular here and say, I have a guy that I look up to who is born and bred in this country, but happens to have spent some time across the ocean, and was in one of the most powerful offices in that particular land. Some things that he says, something that he does, I don't agree with. But there are certain things that I look up to, and I think, wow, look at this young man who really went out to shape the world and went out to disrupt the world. And he's a disruptor in the way that he does things. And so there are certain characteristics of his leadership that I love. There's certain characteristics of his life that I know that I love, but there's other things that I know that are very, very private. So as you know, a lot of our mentors will have lives that are quite private, and then sometimes you might stumble across that and you might feel a bit hurt by it. So I think it's important for you to sort of work out and see what it is that you want from a mentor, and take really the nuggets out of that, out of the mentor. And like I say, sometimes mentors will say things that are unpopular to you, and it is up to you to sort of trust the process and trust that what they are saying and how they're trying to shape and mold you, it's them wanting what's best for you as their mentee. And I think, you know, it is sometimes a very popular thing, Frida, for people to want to be mentored. I want to be mentored, I want to be mentored, and then you don't do the homework. You know, being mentored means you've got to do some slogging, because the mentor sometimes, like I said previously, might give you some tasks to do. I mean, I think we spoke about some of the homework that you have to do, you know, and so it's up to you to want to do that, because if it comes in one ear and goes out the other ear, I mean, it's a waste of time, right? I mean, you might as well have just not been there. But I think it's about it coming into the one ear and it's spending time inside this thing. And some things will have to go out and others will have to go back out and ask people questions so that you can hear it from someone else, the same thing, just a different version of it, and then be able to really put that into practice. So really be willing to learn and to know that the process is a journey and it's something that needs to be trusted by yourself as a mentee, and know that the mentor, 9 out of 10 times, they're wanting what's good for you. Thanks, Rita.
Thank you, Shoni. And yeah, as I've said, the question that I asked, I think is a perfect segue, because we have been talking about all of this about in mentorship and how one should approach it, and but I want to know, as we seek out this relationship, as a young person, as a learner in the E2E program, what is it that I should do in preparation myself, as I go out there and look for a mentor that I think will mentor me perfectly, and also I'm going to get the most out of it? Are there any, pointers that you can share that one needs to think about when looking for a mentorship relationship? I think I'm going to direct this to you, Shamila. As we seek out mentorship, what should we be looking out for? And I think in addition to that, how does one tell that this relationship is really not the one that I'm looking for? What are those cues that one, either a mentor or a mentee, should be looking out for?
I think the most important aspect of any relationship is communication, right? So having somebody that you can easily communicate with and you get each other is very important from the beginning, right? Finding a person that's easy to talk to just makes things so much easier for everything, right? So that for me is very important. Communication is absolutely critical for any mentorship relationship, right? So for me, that's something people should work on, is find somebody that you find it easy to communicate to. Sometimes it might be that initially you want somebody to be speaking in your mother tongue, and that's okay. It's okay to do that. It's okay to say, I actually feel more comfortable, until you build your confidence, right? So look out for those kind of things. Also, I think it's important to show up. So whether you're a mentor or a mentee, showing up is important. If you commit to meet at a certain time, make sure that it happens, because there's exceptions to the rules. But if it becomes the norm, then the relationship will fall apart. For now, I think that's what comes to my mind.
Certainly, thank you. I think it's I love that you touched on communication and commitment, because I think those are sort of the, the basic um, things that we need to, learn and polish and get better at. It's easy to miscommunicate, and it's easy to think the other person is thinking that when they're not thinking. So communication is very key, and it's also something we have been talking about with the learners. So I think as they hop from the current learning block that they are, they'll be, transitioning into learning block 3, and these kind of skills will come in very handy, guys, as tap into mentorship and wanting to reap the fruits thereof. So thank you so much for reiterating that communication and commitment are key. We want to meet each other somewhere, and when for this relationship to flourish and be fruitful for everyone and be effective, we need to communicate and commit to what agreements that we had in the beginning or in the inception of this mentorship relationship. Chief, your take on this, as one seeks out a mentorship relationship?
Yeah, I'll start off by giving an example of something that I wrote about myself. This was probably 1995 or 1996. I went through a program that really challenged me, to define what I want for myself, or what I want to be known for, or what I want to be remembered for. And what I wrote back then, which I still reflect on a daily basis, was that my purpose in life is to develop, encourage, and motivate excellence in individuals and organizations. I mean, it's many years back that I wrote this down, but it helped to shape me in terms of the relationships that I went out to seek and the people that I wanted to surround myself with. And it also influenced me a lot in terms of the roles that I take up. So whether it's applying for a role, or whether it's using another role as a stepping stone into a role that really talks to what I want to be known for, what I want to be remembered for as an individual. So if I approach someone and I want them to be my mentor, for a particular objective or for a particular period, I can easily say to them, look, in the relationship that we are going to have, this is what I want to achieve as an individual. So at the end of this exercise, where I go forward, and also in the exchanges that we are going to have between me as a mentee and you as a mentor, my purpose in life is this, in my case, to develop, encourage, and motivate excellence in individuals and organizations. So by being able to identify myself, being able to introduce myself, I think Melissa touched on that earlier on, by being able to introduce myself, and by being able to concisely give my prospective mentor a picture of who I am and what drives me and the things that are important to me as an individual, it also gives the mentor the option to say no upfront, right? Because they know what they are getting into, or maybe they are in a space where they feel that they won't be able to, contribute or to participate in that engagement in the way that I am looking for. So to make the mentoring relationship successful, and I saw there was a question earlier on, if I can find it, somebody was asking, about, how do I approach someone to become my mentor? And for me, and most of us have heard about, this, the who, the what, the why, the how, and the when. If you are able to write that down, on a piece of paper, one piece of paper, who am I? Who are the people that I want to be associated with? Who do I want to be remembered for? And when you think about the what, in most instances, we always think about the skills, right? What skills do I want to get out of the mentoring relationship? But there's also values. What are my values as an individual? Earlier on, I think it was again Nedis when he spoke about, knowing yourself, that what are the things that I stand for? Because these things, to an extent, have got a bearing on who are you going to approach as a mentor. The other thing that is important to note when you want to approach somebody as a mentor, besides knowing who you are, to an extent, you need to know who your prospective mentor is, because there needs to be a level of synergy between the two of you, and knowing what are the objectives that you want to achieve. Not that mentors always have time, but if they know the period within which you want that relationship you want to engage. So how long do you want the mentoring relationship to be for? Is it 1 year? Is it 2 years? Is it because I'm part of this program, over the next 10 weeks and I need a mentor in the program? So being able to define these things very concisely in a piece of paper, when you think about the how, also think about, how do you want to be mentored? Are you okay with virtual? Do you prefer face-to-face? What kind of an individual are you? There are some people that, battle to get energy or to give energy through virtual platforms, And if you approach somebody to be your mentor and it's a person that really wants to connect, they want to be able to put, their hand on their back to encourage you. If you approach someone like that to be your mentor and you are a person that prefers to do things virtually, will the mentoring engagement work? It will work. Are you going to get the most out of it? Maybe not. Maybe you might find ways to learn new skills in the process. But for me, when you think about how do I make my mentoring engagement work for me, I need to know who I am first, because that is going to determine a lot of how I drive the engagements going forward. I've got a framework that I use for mentoring. It's 8 Fs. I'm happy to share it if there's time towards the end, just in terms of high level, and I share this with the people that I mentor, that through this mentoring relationship, the things that I think are important in mentoring, the 8 Fs, Frida, if I've got 30 seconds, is for me, those 8 Fs is faith, it's family, it's finances, it's fitness of mind, it's function, it's fellowship, it's fun, and it's freedom. And the people that I mentor, we get to talk about all these things. And if you look at all these things, maybe except function, that we'll talk about, what is the kind of work that you want to do? How do you want to contribute back to society? A lot of these things speak to me as an individual, not necessarily, the role that I'm in or the function that I'm going to carry out. So, Frida, from my side, knowing yourself is quite important when you get into that relationship. If you are going to approach somebody to be your mentor, make them aware, who you are, how you prefer to be mentored, what you want to get out of that relationship. Managing time also helps with expectations. If I know that I've got a big engagement coming up in the next 12 weeks that will need a lot of my time, and you want a mentoring, to be over 12 months, I might say no, or I might come back to you and say, look, I only have 8 weeks. Will this work if we do it in 8 weeks? Thanks, Frida.
Thank you for sharing. I think knowing oneself, or even having that one piece of paper to note who you are, what you want, can be a daunting task for many of us. But I think with practice and also just simple reflections, you are able to, put those down on paper, and from there chart your course going forward, because you don't want to shoot in the dark and hope to get something. It needs to be a committed thing, and also keeps you grounded. You know your course and know the next steps that you should be taking. And I think it also gives your mentor that confidence to show that you are committed in this relationship. So I think with that, we are just gonna have a look at the questions. I see a lot of comments on our learner side. They've got a ton of questions to ask. So I see one from Letu Zama saying, if you were in our position again, what would you do? What would you not waste time during the okay, I'm not getting this right. If you were in our position again, what would you not waste time on during the E2E journey? I think this goes to ladies and Andiswa. What's the one thing that you feel you wouldn't waste time on if you were to do it again in the E2E journey, which you are still in? But yeah, there's the question. Ngedisi, Andiswa?
Hi, Frida.
Yes.
So that's quite a difficult question in the sense that if looking back, so I don't know, maybe not coming out of my shell more, not coming out of my shell earlier, sorry, within the program. So I think one of the most important aspects of being a mentee would be to be vulnerable, and I think that's possibly what I would change if I had to go do this again, because I was a bit closed off at the beginning of the session, of which that may have hindered progress. But other than that, I think the program that I was in was quite well structured, so there aren't any sort of things that I could redo that comes to top of mind.
Thank you, Ngedisi. I've got a question from Martinez Pardon, who's asking, what do you think is the best way to approach someone I consider a role model, to ask them to become my mentor? I think I can hand this over to Ntate Shoni. How do you approach one that you look up to become your mentor?
Yeah, thanks, Frida. I think Chief touched on this a little bit, but I really want to say the one way is to go to the person and ask them, right? So that's the one thing. There's nothing as good as asking, and you can get two answers or three answers: yes, no, not now. Okay, and all of those are valid. Sometimes the no is a very good answer, because it then helps you re-look and say where to from here. The other thing which I really want to say is, take opportunities when you are at events. I hate the word networking events, but let's use the word networking events. If at an event and there's someone there who you really look up to and you want to get a nugget from them, those 5 minutes of them speaking to you may be worth more than the 6 weeks that you're thinking that you can get out of them. So really be present when you're in front of those that you really want to spend time with and want to have mentorship from. Be present. I mean, guys, I cannot really stress being present. I think it's about really listening in, really being attentive, and hearing what they have to say. And approaching people like via LinkedIn is another route. In particular, if it's someone who you look up to and you're not too sure how to access them, if it's someone within your network, do go to them and ask them the question. But like Chifu said, it's important for you to present to the person why you want them to mentor you, because just saying, please mentor me, I mean, it sounds nice, mentor me. But why do you want mentorship? What is it that you want to get out of this? And I think if you make it clear to that individual, they will then it will help them prioritize it. And I think, come up with your elevator pitch of mentorship. What is that thing that you can say in less than a minute to bring me in and lure me as a mentor to ask you further questions that intrigue me to really want to journey with you. It is a two-way street, being a mentor and a mentee. The mentor has got to find value in what they are doing. In other words, they need to know that, I'm investing time and I see the investment in this. And you as a mentee, of course, you then glean out of it. And I think the people that I have journeyed with over the years is I've valued journeying with them, not because I am the one that's speaking, but half the time it's because of what they say. It makes me reflect on life. It makes me reflect on my own decisions and makes me reflect on my own career. And and sometimes a mentee might challenge me as a mentor to rethink my career. Thanks, Rita.
Definitely. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that, Ntate Hloni. I completely agree with you. And I hope this answers our learners' questions and they are taking something out of it. I see T Snakes here saying it's really great to hear from individuals who are in the same journey. I currently am in the E2E program. It's quite inspiring and motivational. So another comment that we have here is from I see from Precious saying this is dropping gems, yo. So you can see that we already have learners that are, excited about getting into the mentorship program, and I think this session came in very, very handy and at the perfect time as they transition. So yeah, we've got quite a number of comments that have come in. Mindfulness is key for me. Shamila is very, very, very good at these mindful sessions. And yeah, I also enjoyed a few sessions that I attended of hers back at SAP. Riboningo saying, I agree with that, Ntate. Watching people you look up to can be an avenue to mentorship. Yes, definitely. Networking, to Ntate's point, you need to, conjure that courage to approach someone, because what's the worst that can happen? It's either a yes or no, or let's think about this later. So you walk away with that satisfaction that you've taken that first step. And also it also works on your networking skills. You learn how to approach people, you learn how to talk to people. So it's not a complete loss if it's a no, and they can definitely circle back and change their minds. You'll never know. So I think we are 2 minutes left in the session. Yes, Chief?
This question around, approaching someone to be your mentor, besides working on, the tech, the approach, it's also that why, right? Typically when you approach people that are advanced in their careers, that want to make sure that, like Ntate Hloni was using, that the time is going to be beneficial, not only for you, but for generations that you are going to touch as a mentee. I just want to encourage the learners that, always think about the 3 whys, because you'll typically come across these 3 whys in a lot of things in your in life. If you say to someone, please be my mentor, the first question they are going to ask is why, and then maybe you say to them, I've watched your journey in the industry, it's quite impressive. They'll say to you, why? What's impressive in that journey? So to avoid being, or maybe walking away with a bad experience, just be prepared, that you have got a story that you can tell, and maybe you'll come across a question from someone that you've never thought of. It's a learning, you go back and you work on yourself to prepare that if I come across a similar question next time, how do I improve my response to that? So I just want to encourage everyone that think about the 3 whys. If someone is to ask you why, every answer that you give, there's a why, so that you are better prepared to be able to have that relationship with your mentors, or to start that relationship with the mentors. Thanks, Frida.
Definitely. Thank you. Thank you very much. I think we are top of the hour, and we have come to the end of the session. We've got a
Is it Frida's network?
Yes, I
Looks
think we
like
lost Frida. Looks like we lost Frida there at the end.
I guess we
Okay,
can close off and thank everybody.
yes, yes. Thanks, Shamila, and maybe on behalf of Umuzi and the rest of the team, I could take this moment to thank Chief and Shamila for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us, and thank you very much for the nuggets that you've shared with the community here. Mncedisi Andiswa, what gems to have heard from you with the journey that you've traveled and continue to travel. I'm sure those that are coming behind you are looking up to you and really excited to see that they too can be where you are if they hold on and keep working hard. So from all of us, thank you very much, and to everyone on the line, everyone that has joined us, the whole community, thank you very much for being here, and thank you for the insights, and thank you very much for getting in touch. The question has been asked: Can we be followed on platforms like LinkedIn? Yes, I think do connect with us on LinkedIn. Would love to journey with you. Would love to see what you are doing. Let us know what you are doing, so we can also share with you what we are doing. Remember, LinkedIn is not about posting my cats and my dogs. It's a very professional network and a professional platform. So let's do connect there and
Yes.
journey together with our professional careers. So thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.